On today's show, welcome to another edition of the biggest game of the season. The Senators in Boston to take on the Bruins.
And just as the Ottawa Senators get one forward back from injury, they lose another to injury.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome! You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, and Pilsy, David Perron is back. He's only played 9 games this season, but it will be a nice veteran middle six presence in the lineup.
Yeah, and right now the Ottawa Senators need as many reinforcements as they can get as we have more injury updates. It's like one up, one down, Ross. They never seem to be able to be ahead on the health side of things, but every team faces that, so you got to deal with it. But there's a lot of expectations from David Perron, I think, now that he's back from injury from fans. He was arguably the biggest free agent signing that this team made in the offseason, 2 years at $4 million. He was kind of expected to bring veteran leadership and a little bit of grittiness and come along with some points, as he's been able to produce points his entire career. However, things haven't gone great for him in Ottawa. Obviously, he had to step aside for some personal reasons. Then he had a back injury, no points in 9 games. Let's hope he can spark this team's offense and get himself going at the same time.
More stats on David Perron later about how he can impact this game. But as he comes into the lineup, Josh Norris is out. He hit his chin on the ice in New York City on Tuesday, came back briefly, left. And Travis Green ruling him out for the weekend, so he will miss at least the next 3 games.
Yeah, that's a tough loss, Ross, because, I mean, a team that's trying to get more offense, say what you want about Josh Norris, but that guy scores goals, and they're going to miss him from their lineup, from their power play, from their second line. They had to jumble the lines up a little bit here. We'll take a look at those in the future of this episode. But, yeah, that's a bigger loss than I think people realize, because obviously he scores goals, but we've mentioned it. We've really started to kind of key in on the other things that Josh Norris does. He brings a big physical presence. He's second on the team in hits on the Ottawa Senators, only behind Brady Tkachuk. So you're going to lose a bit of that physicality. And it's tough when you've got a top 6 where the top guys aren't really producing like you'd like, Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle and Drake Batherson. So losing a guy like Josh Norris probably isn't going to make things easier for them to get themselves going.
Josh Norris is 4th on the Ottawa Senators in point scoring, so 5th rather, behind Claude Giroux, Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, and Drake Batherson. And he is also 2nd in goals, just 1 short of Brady Tkachuk. So we hope that Josh Norris can get back healthy soon and get back to scoring goals like the 2 big ones he had on Saturday against these same Boston Bruins, the second coming with 12 seconds left in the game to tie it, bring it to overtime. Sens win the game in a shootout off of an incredibly patient finish from Tim Stützle and perfection by Levi Meriläinen in the skills competition. It is a 7 o'clock start tonight in Boston. Senators taking on the Bruins, 2 teams that are among a cluster in the Eastern Conference. That third wild card spot, third spot in the Atlantic. Of course, there's only 2.
They should add 3 wild card spots, Ross. Let's do it.
Just for fun?
Yeah.
Only if the Sens finish 3rd in the wild card.
Take out 1 Metro division spot and add a wild card spot.
Unless Montreal's in one of those spots.
Okay, yeah, we got a lot of stipulations for Gary on this one.
Yes, we do. Right now, though, Montreal, Ottawa, Boston, all tied with 52 points. But I will again say Boston has played 2 extra games than Ottawa. They also are coming off a complete letdown game where they scored first last night in New Jersey.
Yep.
Jacob Markstrom left with injury. They had to put a goalie in cold, Jake Allen, and then they give up 5 unanswered to the Devils. So they're going to be prickly tonight, but they also may be starting Joonas Korpisalo.
Yeah, well, Ross, the Boston Bruins also put a goalie in cold yesterday as Jeremy Swayman started that game and was pulled after 2 periods. Joonas Korpisalo coming in relief. Ross, you seem to think that they might go back to Swayman getting a whole period off. They're going to go back to back. I don't think that makes any sense after the guy has a terrible game that you would put him in the next game. I think you let him sit and you start Joonas in that because their numbers have been pretty similar, Swayman and Korpisalo. I mean, honestly, Korpisalo has a better win-loss record. So,
well, he's getting spot starts, though.
Yeah, but like Jeremy Swayman's supposed to be the guy. He's 15, 16, and 4 with a 3 goals against average and an 896 save percentage. So on the wrong side of 3 on goals against and on the wrong side of 900 on save percentage. Korpisalo is 8, 4, and 2 with the 288 goals against, and obviously the save percentage not great either, 891. But I don't think it's obvious that Swayman gives them their best opportunity to win.
In his last 5 starts, though, he's faced Seattle, Buffalo, the Islanders, the Sharks, and the Blue Jackets. Like, Blue Jackets are a good team. He lost that game, but
that's
like
Korpisalo.
Yeah, like he's getting the easier starts.
Swayman has not been good either. I forget where I was reading it.
He was good last Saturday, despite 5 goals against. Like, he made some big saves, especially in the first period. And we'll get to keys to victory, but it was 2-0 Ottawa. It could have been 4 or 5. Like, Swayman kept them in the game when they were down early.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I was reading, though, his last 5 games. I'm just trying to look it up here.
LSP stats department.
Have not been that great, Ross. So, yeah, like, look at this. 4 goals against the Devils. I mean, 5 goals against the Sens, but you mentioned it's better than things seem. But he did have good games up against the Florida team, so you gotta give him that, I guess. But I don't.
You got to give him that, dude. He stopped 73 out of 77 shots.
Yeah, and they won both those games. Okay, so maybe not as bad. Well, okay, then the stretch before that is not great. 3 goals, 900 save percentage. Okay.
They went 0-5.
Yeah, exactly.
Against Washington, the Rangers, the Leafs, the Oilers, and the Lightning. A little bit different than playing Buffalo, the Islanders, and Sharks.
Fair, but I guess, okay. What I'm saying is he's not stealing them wins. I think that's fair to say, because the games that he has been good, they're losing a lot of those. They do get the wins up against the Florida teams, but I guess what I'm saying, Ross, is it's not a situation where they should be looking at Swayman and Corpy being like, oh, there's no way we can start Corpy over Swayman in a back-to-back. That's the point I was trying to make there.
So you want Jeremy Swayman to start tonight? You would prefer that?
No, I didn't say anything about who I want. I'm just saying if I'm the Boston Bruins, I don't think it would make much sense after Swayman got pulled last game to start him in this one. So I'm expecting Joonas Korpisalo.
My only thing is, like, you're going to live and die with the guy you just paid big money to. And the Senators know that Joonas Korpisalo isn't very good at tracking pucks from distance. Every shot would be a point shot for me tonight. But let's throw back to after the home opener, 2022. This is how we started Locked On Senators the day after the Sens put 7 past Swayman. This is why I think Pillsy wants Swayman. Swayman. A classic day after a Sens game. My voice is toast there 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, so the Swayman chants are a lot, it's smoother than Korpisalo. So, yeah, I guess you could just go with the Corpy there, but I don't know who I want, honestly.
We might get an all-Finnish goalie showdown tonight if Levi Meriläinen gets a start. No morning skate for the Ottawa Senators today. If you were Travis Green, does Meriläinen start this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a similar situation, right? He got pulled in their last game, and Forsberg came in. So I don't know, honestly, Ross. Both of these teams, it's puts my mind in a pretzel what the goalies are going to choose when it comes to, or what the coaches are going to choose when it comes to goalies.
Well, we have a pretty good idea of who the players they're going to choose. Our new lines at practice for the Ottawa Senators. We'll get to a full game day preview next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Those green numbers are in your account ASAP. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or hoping for the Kansas City Chiefs to finally lose, or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this NFL playoffs unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
All right, Pilsy, game day for the Ottawa Senators. A proverbial 4-point game tonight in Boston. The Bruins hosting the Ottawa Senators. For the Bruins, it is their third game in 4 days. For Ottawa, they will be, I want to say rested, because they didn't show up for the game on Tuesday night where they lost 5-0 to the New York Rangers. Now, we talked about Josh Norris being out. We talked about David Perron coming back. And that leaves the question, well, who's playing with who? Well, we've got the answers according to practice yesterday. The Ottawa Senators putting Shane Pinto in that top line spot with Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux. Tim Stützle has new line mates. Nick Cousins on the left and Drake Batherson on the right. Zach Ostapchuk getting elevated to the third line with Ridley Gregg on the left and David Perron on the right. The fourth line is Adam Gaudette centering Matthew Highmore and Michael Amadio. On the back end, Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub, Thomas Chabot with Nick Jensen, Tyler Kleven with Nicholas Matin-Palo, Levi Marilainen, Anton Forsberg, the two goalies. Linus Ullmark still in his rehab phase, was on the ice after practice again yesterday, working with goalie coach Justin Peters. Your thoughts on the new look forward group for the Senators?
Well, we knew they were going to have to make some changes with a top 6 centerman and Josh Norris out. So Shane Pinto effectively takes his spot in the top 6. A move the Ottawa Senators have done countless times when Norris is out. Pinto's the top 6 guy year after year. And David Perron gets in this lineup. So I think it was time to move Gaudette off of Timmy's line, Ross, at even strength. Just it hadn't really been working, and we talked about it. It seemed like Timmy was working extra hard to get him the puck. So I like the idea of moving him. Would Nick Cousins have been my top choice? No, but also not my last choice. He's been playing good hockey lately and adds a little bit of sandpaper to that top 6. So we'll see how that goes. I like Perron on the third line, Ross, with Gregg and Ostapchuk. I think that's a good look. And let's hope that Gaudette back on the fourth line, maybe he can get some more easy matchups and he can start being effective, even strength as well.
Yeah, with Nick Cousins there, I think it's just a little bit more sandpaper, a little bit more grit. He can also carry the puck down low. He's got some sneaky skill in that regard, but hopefully this is the indicator for them from the coaching staff to Timmy and saying, you're the shooter on this line.
Yes.
Buddy, you scored 39 goals 2 years ago. You can put the puck in the net yourself. And having a potential slump-busting game for Drake Batherson is also something I'm watching for tonight. 2 goals in his last 19 games after having 3 goals in his 20th game ago against the Ducks. So he needs to get on the board in a big, big way. But my locked-on players in the photo right there, it's Brady Tkachuk tonight. I mean, 8 games without a point. You know he wants to end that. His dad's hometown there. He's got family and friends. The city he went to college in at Boston University. Go look at his first ever Instagram post from the 2011 Stanley Cup Finals, maybe 2013. It was an absolutely hilarious photo. This guy, oh, right. Last time he played in Boston, scored the overtime winner. So he's been able to produce in this building before. His shots on goal are coming. His expected goals were highest on the Ottawa Senators in the game against the Rangers. Low bar. But he is motivated. He's ready to go. And I'm going down with the ship on FanDuel. I am all over Brady Tkachuk anytime goal scorer in this game.
All right, I love it, Ross. I just want to let's have a quick chat about that second line though, because is this the first time all year we've seen Tim Stützle without Brady Tkachuk or Claude Giroux on his wing? Who's going to take those draws? It's going to be up to Tim Stützle, in my opinion. Maybe Drake takes some of them, but Timmy's sitting at 37.4% on the face-off dot. So that's an interesting dynamic because typically Claude Giroux has been handcuffed with Timmy for that purpose to take those draws. And when he hasn't, it seems like Brady has been there to help him with the draws. So this is a totally different type of pressure being put on Tim Stützle here, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Pilsy, because the stats department is hard at work. And that trio has not even played 10 minutes together this season. They do not qualify on moneypuck.com. For having a line together, those three. Now, Cousins has played with Norris and Batherson for 12 minutes, barely, but that line has not played. Cousins, Stützle, and Tkachuk have played 11 minutes together as well. And whenever you're below at this point in the season, like 20 minutes, the real reason is that when you change on the fly, you're out there for 10 seconds to 30 seconds to a minute together within a game. But this is something completely new for the Ottawa Senators this year. And I think it's going to be on Tim Stützle. I think this is them challenging Tim Stützle to be his own star player. You don't have your safety valve in Claude Giroux. You got a little bit more speed on your line. We asked for more speed. Nick Cousins has that. I'm interested to see how it works. And I'm also interested to see how Tkachuk, Pinto work with Giroux, because that's another trio that we haven't seen. The duo we've seen with Pinto and Tkachuk, but having Giroux on that line, I'm interested to see. I love this third line. Having Zach Ostapchuk with Ridley Gregg and David Perron, they will know what their identity is, and that's getting pucks in deep, keeping possession, keeping zone time, really grinding down that Boston bottom six. So I'm excited to see how this all works out. And I know I've been vocal and I remain vocal that I would like to see Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk reunited on the same line. But if they're going to keep them different, I don't mind this look. Pilsy, who's your locked on player to watch?
Well, and just quickly too, Ross, Pinto and Giroux have great chemistry on the power play. So you're hoping they can get that even strength. Do you still have the line combos pulled up, Ross?
For most time together? Yeah, I do.
Who is the Tim Stützle's trio that he has the most time with without Brady or Giroux on any of those trios? Is there even any?
Well, the first five are all with Brady or Giroux. Tops all 7, 8, 9, 10. 27 minutes with Gaudette and Batherson.
Okay. All right. So
and they have a 70% expected goals percentage when they're on the ice.
Interesting. So maybe that's the magic that they're trying to do there, Timmy and Batherson, but then not have the shooter in Gaudette there and replace him with Cousins. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I've been kicking my locked on player down the can enough. I'm going to go with number 57, David Perron. I know I don't want to have too much expectations for him in this game. I'm not going to be locked on to him for that reason, but more just to see, okay, where is this guy at? Like, this is a veteran player. I don't want to get the age wrong again. 36 years old. I was about to say 37. He hasn't had a lot of time, only 9 games this season, coming off a back injury. So I just want to see, can he be up to speed, where he's going to fit in on this team? And Ross, I wouldn't mind seeing him on a second power play unit as well. So David Perron is going to be my locked on player tonight.
David Perron is second in the National Hockey League this season in most shots on goal per 60 minutes of ice time. I was as shocked as you are listening to this. He is behind only his teammate Brady Tkachuk. And I'm not talking about on the Sens. I'm talking in the entire National Hockey League. David Perron has 12.69 shots on goal per 60 minutes. So that's going to be a welcome addition to the lineup, considering that the Senators had exactly 20 shots on goal in each of their last 2 games. They got to shoot the puck, and having a veteran who is not afraid to do so should help. And I think that if you're his line mate, if you're Ridley, if you're Stapchuk, get to the net, good things will happen. Loose pucks can be found, especially if Korpisalo's there. We know his rebound control is not one of the strengths of his game. Athleticism is, but rebound control certainly is not. I would also be looking for the Ottawa Senators to throw everything on net from distance. We know he wears his helmet like a complete fool over his eyes, basically. You can't see anything out of them. So get pucks on net is my number one key to victory. If Korpisalo's in, if it's Jeremy Swayman, just get those high danger scoring chances, get shots on goal. They did not do that in the first period against Igor Shesterkin. It's almost like they respected him too much and said, to beat him, we really have to dance around him and just slide the puck in the net. So get everything on net tonight. I need 35 shots on goal, Pilsy. I want everything on net.
I like it. For the listeners, wait, let's go back to that David Perron quote. We didn't say it for the listeners. I'm always looking out for our audio audience here. David Perron said, "I've never been a complicated hockey player. I want to shoot the puck when I can." That is music to Sens fans' ears. And in 18 years, Ross, 1,140 games played for David Perron. He has 2,438 shots on goal. So that guy puts pucks on net. That's what we want to see.
And for our YouTube viewers, who we don't forget either, you can see on the bottom ticker our point leaders for the Ottawa Senators. Wow, would it be nice to get David Perron out of that zeros that are basically reserved for call-ups.
Are we going to read all of them for the audio people?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I don't think that would be good radio. But I will tell you that the Ottawa Senators have the top 2 shots on goal leaders per 60 minutes. Well, guess what? Number 3 is in this game as well. David Pastrnak. We'll preview his Boston Bruins next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. Now Gametime has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite live events with their new feature, Gametime Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you're not wasting time searching through tickets you don't even want. I was looking for tickets for the Sens Lightning game in February that I'm going to because I use the Gametime app. With Gametime Picks, I found amazing deals. I've never been to that barn, so I wanted to see the view of my seat before buying, and you can do that on the app. The super deal was really impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, I hate surprise fees at checkouts, so I turned on the all-in pricing feature so you know what it costs right up front. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time.
All right, Pillsy, big game tonight in Boston, the third of 4 meetings between the Ottawa Senators and Boston Bruins this season. Senators are 2-0, but the Bruins are 0-2. Both games going past regulation. Brady Tkachuk with the overtime winner in Boston on November 9th. And then on January 18th, just last Saturday, Sens get a 6-5 shootout victory. And they had 34 shots on goal in Boston and 44 shots on goal in Ottawa in those games. So my 35 shots on goal prediction has been, it's not out of the question. They did this already just on Saturday against Boston. So we're hoping for more of the same. Who are the Sens going up against? We'll get to that in a moment. But Pilsy, this is a big night in the Eastern Conference wildcard race. We know how close the standings are. The Lightning with 53 points, the Blue Jackets with 53 points, Ottawa, Montreal, and Boston with 52, the Rangers and Flyers with 50, and let's just leave it there because the Penguins have played more games than everyone, and they are next with 48. But all those teams I mentioned are in action today, and in certain situations, it is a head-to-head. So you got to root for no overtime. The reason I went to the Flyers and the Rangers there too, those two are playing against each other. So one of those teams will tie the amount of points Ottawa has right now after tonight's game. Guaranteed, someone's going to do it, which puts pressure on Ottawa and Boston and Montreal to continue to climb the ladder in the standings to make sure that they aren't jumped by New York or Philly, who are 5th and 6th in the wild card race right now. It's that close. So that game, we just cannot have overtime. I don't really care who wins. I probably lean Philly because the Rangers are so red hot right now. You want to be able to put some water on those flames, and we're hoping Philly can do that on the road at MSG. 9 straight games with a point for the New York Rangers. The Montreal Canadiens are in Detroit. So funny how the tables have turned, where we were rooting for Montreal to beat Detroit earlier this year to keep them down, but now Montreal's been winning too much, and now we are heavily on the Red Wings to win in regulation tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. The Blue Jackets, after a big 5-1 win against Toronto last night, they're on the second half of back-to-back in Carolina, taking on the Hurricanes. Columbus plus 290 on the money line tonight. Whoa. So, yeah, you're really hoping that Vegas gets that one right. The Penguins are in Anaheim to take on the Ducks, and those are the games that matter for the Ottawa Senators tonight.
And most importantly, Ross, the Ottawa Senators at the Boston Bruins.
Yes, 7 o'clock puck drop, and this is how we expect the Bruins to line up. Pavel Zacha centering the top line between Morgan Geekie and David Pasternak. Matthew Poitras between Brad Marchand and Charlie Coyle. Elias, don't call him Hampus Lindholm. Elias Lindholm centering Oliver Wahlstrom and Vinny Lettieri. And John Beecher on the fourth line with Max Jones and Justin Brazeau. Mark Kastelik, hashtag Sens Abroad, back out of the lineup suffering an injury. On defense, Nikita Zadorov with Andrew Peeke. Brandon Carlo with Jordan Osterley. And Parker Wotherspoon is with Mason Lohrei. We've already spent some time talking on the Bruins goaltending, which is still unconfirmed after the Bruins played in New Jersey last night. Look, the Bruins, they're disappointing this year. They're disappointing their fan base, their organization, where they thought they'd be. I thought they'd be right in this type of position, so I'm not as surprised. What I will say, though, is I am surprised that the Bruins are allowing 3.2 goals against per game. Way worse than Ottawa's 2.79. The Bruins are allowing more shots than Ottawa. They've got a worse power play, worse penalty kill. The Sens need to get it rolling tonight. There's no doubt about that for them to have success. They need to get the power play going as well. But with the Boston Bruins, who is your lookout player to watch?
My lookout player to watch is going to be number 28, Elias Lindholm, Ross. They gave him a monster deal this offseason. And it's because they're really looking for centermen that can even out this lineup. And as you mentioned in the lineup, Ross, he's playing third line center. They signed him to a 7-year deal at $7,750,000. Yeah, he's on the third line.
I mean, to quote Lou Lamoriello, is too much for too long.
Big time. Yeah, that's one of those free agent deals where they probably had to shore up to get him and probably add an extra year and add a couple extra dollars to his deal to convince him to come to Boston. And it just hasn't worked out probably the way both of them would want. But he is fourth on the team in points, Ross, but only 24 points in 49 games. But he has been better lately. In his last 5 games, he's got 4 points, including a goal and an assist up against the San Jose Sharks. So I'm going to be looking out for him, Ross, because him going head-to-head with a young centerman and Zach Ostapchuk, I think that's a matchup that, at least at center, you're probably not going to love. I think on the wings, Wahlstrom and Lettieri, you're feeling good about having Greg and then David Perron there. But the head-to-head matchup in the middle, I think, might be tough. So I'm going to be looking out for Lindholm because he could do some damage, even strength there.
Yeah, he can. And it's almost like you're kind of waiting for him to heat up. But he's been extremely disappointing for Boston Bruins fans. I'm not going to overthink behind Pillsy. It's going to be David Pasternak.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a 5-game point streak right now, had 3 consecutive 3-point games, including a goal and 2 assists in the shootout loss against Ottawa. In his last 5 games, he has 5 goals and 7 assists. That's 12 points in his last 5 games, more than 2 points per game.
Sheesh.
He is rolling. And when you look at the season for the Boston Bruins, Brad Marchand is second on the team with 37 points, while Pasta's got 54 in 49
Wow.
games. He's -6, hasn't goal differential at 5-on-5 hasn't been in his favor, but he has more even strength points than anyone else on his team has total points. He's got 42, and 16 of his 22 goals have been at even strength. He dominates the Ottawa Senators. We brought this stat up last time, but it is worth repeating because, I mean, he had 3 points in 1 game. He's got 42 points in 30 career games against Ottawa. You have to be aware whenever number 88 is out on the ice in black.
Yep, agreed, Ross. Definitely, he's the top guy you got to be looking out for on this team. Still, let's look at that decor. No
Brutal.
Lindholm, no McAvoy. So this is
Hampus
a time.
Lindholm. Don't call him Elias.
Yes. No, you got to take advantage of that top pair being out. And another
That's a
thing,
third pair on a Stanley Cup winning team.
what?
Zadorov and
okay. I was like, whoa, that's a good Stanley Cup decor if they're your third pair. I see what you're saying though. Yes,
Zadorov and Peak, the top pair. Like Brady got into it quite a bit with Zadorov, and he is the type of guy who can at least physically match Brady, but you got to just skate. Make him take. He took a bad penalty in the first game or last Saturday, second game head to head, but you need to get all over this decor early on, make them play on their heels, make them make plays out of their zone. They've got right shooting Brandon Carlo on the left side, make him uncomfortable, keeping pucks in the offensive zone on his offside. You have to put pressure on this decor. That's a great call.
Yep, exactly. But my keys to victory, Ross, is going to be on the special teams side of the puck here. We already mentioned it. The Boston Bruins power play has really been struggling this year. They are 30th in the league, sitting at only 13.6%. Their penalty kill, not great either, at 25th in the league at 75%. And Ross, the New Jersey Devils were able to put up 3 power play goals on them just last night. They went 3 for 7 on the power play. So I think if the Ottawa Senators can play a disciplined game and dominate the special teams, and we need a game where this power play, whether it's the power play unit 1 or unit 2, let's start with getting shots on goal before I ask for too much scoring goals. But this could be a get-right game for the Ottawa Senators power play, especially after you just watch the New Jersey Devils have success. So that's going to be my key to victory, Ross, is dominate the special teams.
Dominate. Both teams went 1 for on the power play, 1 for 3 for the Ottawa Senators and 1 for 4 for the Boston Bruins. Ottawa's power play hasn't won them a game in quite a while. They did get 2 out of 4 against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but in a 5-0 game, it was nice, but it didn't win them the game.
Yeah,
I think you got to go way back to the Ducks game, 20 games ago, where they went 3 for 5 on the power play and 5 for 5 shorthanded for the last time they really put their stamp on a game. So let's see that tonight, Pillsy. Let's see Ottawa's power play win them this game. Would love to see. Look, and you want Josh Norris in the lineup. There's no question. But I wonder if by necessity, move the power play around could at least create a spark. That's my hope. Obviously, it didn't happen mid-game against the Rangers where the power play was awful. And
they only got 2 opportunities also.
Well, they had 0 shots.
Yeah.
Shoot the puck. I'm going to repeat it again and again. Shoot. Forget the Swayman chance. Sens fans are going to Boston. Get the shoot chance out. Help this team get pucks on net. This team is brutal. Alfie,
Ross,
you're going to change the power play?
Probably not.
Well, let's see if Alfie can be, how do you say it, validated that he's keeping things how it is and eventually it'll work. But if I see that down low play from just the one side, left to right, cross seam, trying to bang it in, I might go crazy.
Yeah, we can't be doing the cross seam pass. It doesn't work for me.
It's a cute play when it works.
But the risk versus reward to me is just not worth it. Like, it gets broken up and cleared so many more times. And even if it doesn't, Ross, it's such a difficult pass to make. You can't really get a one-time shot off it unless there's no one in that lane there. So I don't really like that. Like I mentioned on the postcast, I want to see them utilize the down low player beside the net. Like, the New York Rangers scored 2 goals based off that player making something happen. Cooley just pivoted when they gave him space. And then I forget what player it was, but they were down low and they passed it to Panarin, who glided in and then ripped one past the Sens goalie. So utilize that player more. And I mean, like Travis Green said in his availability, the power play woes, it's more complicated than just getting pucks on net. But I think
not against Korpisalo.
Let's start with getting pucks on net. And then if there's more complications, we can try to work on those.
Yeah, I'm down with that. It's a big game tonight. A huge game tonight.
Yeah.
A 4-point game, I don't think even does it justice.
We were talking, Ross, this might be, and it's sad to say, but at least one of the biggest games we've had to cover on this podcast. Because the meaning for this game is absolutely huge, which is sad to say in January, but with how tight things are, and not only in the wild card race, Ross, but this has implications in the division race. We are still only 1 point back from the Tampa Bay Lightning for third place in the Atlantic. But having said that, so are the Montreal Canadiens and Boston Bruins. Like, this isn't just about keeping a wild card spot. You could possibly find yourself in a division spot with a win tonight for either 3 teams.
Whoever wins. But out of the 3 teams that if they win, they're in that spot. If Ottawa wins, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Right? If Ottawa and Montreal win, Ottawa's got the tiebreaker
I see what you're
now.
saying. Yes, exactly.
More regulation wins. So they would be in third. I mean, Tampa's in Chicago tomorrow, but that's neither here nor there. Just for tonight, the Ottawa Senators could have that feather in their cap. Ottawa's a huge favorite in tonight's game, -154 according to FanDuel right now.
What?
Yeah, does that make you nervous?
Huh. That's interesting because the Bruins are at home and tied in points.
Second half back-to-back on with travel. I mean, not far, but New Jersey to Boston.
Yeah, I thought it'd be closer, but I don't know how that makes me feel, Ross. Just surprised, I guess, is my feeling.
-154 tonight. The Ottawa Senators against the Boston Bruins. We will have the postcast for you after tonight's game from TD Garden. We got a boots on the ground report, of course, and if you're like me and you're going with Brady Tkachuk anytime goal scorer, +155 in tonight's game. +350 for David Perron. I might sprinkle a little bit on that, just hoping for a little good vibes, getting Perron back in the lineup. Still looking for his first point as an Ottawa Senator. Tonight will be his 10th game. Pilsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts for me, Ross, is I was trying to think of some witty pun or something clever to tie this along, but I'll just keep it simple. Let's hope that they have better luck in this garden as they're going from Madison Square Garden to TD Garden. So I don't know, get your gloves on, get your spades, get your water buckets. What do you call those things?
Yeah,
water can. Just all the gardening puns. Let's work on gardening better tonight.
Okay, let's do just that. So with the Ottawa Senators game tonight, we will be locked in at Sens Central on Twitter. So join us there for all the action tonight. We'll see you in the postcast after the game. Final thought from me, this will be the Senators' 15th or 16th. Let me double check here. 15th road game in their last 20. They come home for 2 games on the weekend. Very excited. It starts a 4-game homestand after tonight's game. So close out this tough 15 out of 20 on the road stretch with a victory. Sens are 8-5-1 on the road in this time period. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.